For many of us, the Game Boy was our first handheld platform. After being stuck with these crappy Tiger electronics, stupid wristwatches and all this nonsense that just was not very fun, did not really replicate a console-like experience, Nintendo came around with the Game Boy and really changed the game, no pun intended, when it came to handheld gaming. And I remember getting a Game Boy, I got a really good report card, and my mom was like, okay, let's go to KB Toys, you're gonna get something for this good report card. And I got my first Game Boy with Super Mario Land 2, these 6 golden coins bundled in it, and I was a very happy person. So shout outs to Mom for that. Mom, you're the real MVP. But yes, many of us have fond memories of the Game Boy, whether it's games like Kid Icarus, Metroid 2, Super Mario Land 2, the 6 golden coins. There's an excellent library of games on the Game Boy. And while many people are sitting and waiting, hoping that Nintendo does sort of a Game Boy Classic line where they have a Game Boy with a bunch of built-in games to it in a handheld that's nice and convenient to take around to you, it looks like other companies are trying to cash in sort of on this retro gaming craze, including Hyperkin now. At CES 2018, Hyperkin unveiled the Ultra GameBoy, which looks to be the Game Boy for 2018. And admittedly, it looks pretty cool, but I do have a few reservations about it. I do have a few qualms and a few questions. So sit back, relax, and today on the show, we're going to talk about the Ultra Game Boy, what it is, what it's going to cost you, when it's coming out, and why I have a few reservations about it.
Hey, RGT 85. Hey, Sean.
Oh my God, it's Stevie Richards! So like I said, this was just unveiled at CES 2018 from Hyperkin. Now, I have been covering CES 2018 a good bit on this channel. Obviously, Retrobit and Sega have partnered up and they're doing some really cool things over there. But I thought it would be cool to talk about this as well because it is pretty interesting. People seem to be very interested in the Game Boy still in 2018. So upon further inspection of the Ultra Game Boy, we see that it looks a lot like a Game Boy Pocket. And a lot of people are saying, this looks like a Game Boy Pocket with a backlit screen. And I'm like, no, it just kind of looks like a Game Boy Light to me. You know, the Game Boy Light that released in Japan only. Do people not do research? Do people not know about video games? Are you hired hands? Looks like a Game Boy Light. But anyways, with that aside, now this system has an aluminum body, an aluminum design, which is pretty interesting. And obviously it is definitely heavily inspired by the Game Boy Pocket line. It looks slim, it looks nice, and it comes with stereo sound, which is actually very interesting. I'm actually curious to see how they're going to split those sound channels. Now, as far as the lighting is concerned on this is a backlit screen, and you'll be able to use different sorts of lights, different colors of lights on this. So if you want to use sort of a monochrome green or a blue, which they showed off, you can do that. You could choose what sort of lighting you want on this, which admittedly is pretty cool in my opinion. Once again, it reminds me a lot of the Game Boy Light, which is a system that I have not gotten my hands on. Now, as far as what games it will play, supposedly it plays all of the Game Boy games and it uses actual cartridges. You have to have your actual Game Boy cartridges, so that's cool. There is a rumor going around that it will use some Game Boy Color games, but no one's been able to really confirm this, and the thing going on about it is that it's some Game Boy Color games, not all Game Boy Color games. So I'm not sure what's going to differentiate, if at all, any Game Boy Color games come to the system. Now, it uses a USB-C charger, which is nice because you should be able to get a good charge about it. I hear it's going to last about 6 to 8 hours of battery life, which is nice as well. Now, one thing that's actually admittedly really cool about this is they're not just doing it for retro gaming. They're also doing it sort of for people who like to make chiptune music. Now, chiptune music was something I thought was going to die out many years ago. I remember listening to 8-Bit Betty like 10 years ago, and that used to be my jam. I'm gonna put that song in the description box down below because it's so good. I listen to it all the time still. But obviously, chiptune music is still alive and well, and all of these systems are going to come with a chiptune music sort of creator built into it, and you'll be able to export these onto an SD card, which has an SD card slot on the system, and be able to take this music with you wherever you go. So honestly, that's really cool. That's probably one of the coolest features about this system. Now, will someone come along and hack the system so that you can load ROMs onto those SD cards? I mean, of course they're gonna, like, right now there's a privacy setting on it, anti-piracy setting where you can't do that, but more than likely someone's gonna come along and do this. Now, they are aiming for a 2018 release date on this system, and they say it's gonna be about $100. So on the surface, I honestly like this system. I think it's pretty cool. It's something that I'll definitely pick up because Hyperkin just never sends me anything. I guess they don't love RGT 85, but they send stuff to my friends. What's up with that, Hyperkin? You got beef? You got beef, son? I got one of your guys' phone numbers. We've talked on the phone before. I don't understand this relationship. But anyways, yes, I will pick one up and of course review it for you guys on the channel. But like I said, I have some reservations and I have a few qualms about this system and potential problems with it. So first and foremost, let's talk about Hyperkin as a company. I have no beef with Hyperkin. I think they make good products. I reviewed a ton of Hyperkin products on this channel. But one thing I've learned about Hyperkin as a company is they announce things way before they're going to be released. Let's talk about that thing that you attach to your Android phone that turns it into a Game Boy. How long did that take to come out? Remember the Game Gear adapter for the Retron 5 that was supposed to come out like a year or 2 years ago and ended up coming out like a year ago? Once again, it seems like their products sometimes take a little bit extra in development time. So will it actually come out in 2018? I have my reservations about that, especially when you think about the Retron 77. Remember that Atari 2600 device that they showcased that was going to allow you to play the games on HD TVs, much like the Retron HD? We haven't heard anything about that lately. So Hyperkin sometimes, you know, they're a small company of good dudes, but I think they sometimes get a bit ahead of themselves when it comes to certain projects. Now, another big problem that I foresee with this system is the actual design and the name of it. It's called the Ultra Game Boy. That's kind of encroaching on Nintendo's trademarks, don't you think? And they have said that the final design may change and that the name of the system may change, but if you're already putting out there that this is called the Ultra Game Boy, you're already putting this prototype out there for people to see, they're sort of gonna resonate with this design. Hell, I am resonating with this design because it reminds me of the Game Boy Light, and I think it looks really good. If they end up having to change the design dramatically, if they end up having to change the name to something completely different, I think that could potentially hurt them in the long run. Another thing I have a little issue with is just the actual system itself, because I remember last year Retrobit announced that they were doing a Game Boy Advance sort of thing, which looked a lot like an original Game Boy. I made a video on it and a lot of people were super interested in that, but then we haven't heard anything from that project since then. And I honestly feel like Nintendo is very protective of the Game Boy. Something like the NES, something like the SNES, people have been making those systems forever. There have been plug and play systems like that forever. I've done reviews of things like the GB Boy Color on this channel, which has a beautiful screen on it, which plays all your Game Boy games on it. And that's a fantastic system as well, but that's based in Japan and China, China, I should say. And so for an American company to be making this, I could see Nintendo being a little bit more strict. I could see them keeping a watchful eye on it because this is a bigger company than just, some random Chinese company making the GB Boy Color. I think this is a cool system, but when you can get the GB Boy Color, and I say color just because it's spelled like that, obviously it's color, but when you can get that for a fraction of the price, I think I paid $30 to $35 off mine for eBay. When you're talking about $100 for this thing, I think the novelty aspect sort of seeps in, and I think a lot of people, maybe those uninformed, will be able to pick this up, but I think the collector maybe will not be that interested in it. When you combine this with the fact that it looks like an original Game Boy and it has Game Boy in the title, I don't think Nintendo's going to be too happy about this product, and that's a shame because I think on paper it sounds really good. I think the features sound really nice. That chiptune music creator is probably the most exciting thing about it, in my opinion. I would love to be able to create some chip tunes with it and share them with you guys, and I do hope this product sees a 2018 release. I hope everything goes nice and smooth for Hyperkin, and because I will fork over my $100 for this thing. It looks pretty cool, got a cool name, got a cool design. So there you have it, folks. That is the Ultra Game Boy from Hyperkin. Subject to change in design, subject to change in name, but I think it's a pretty cool thing. Let me know in the comments section down below what you think of the Ultra Game Boy from Hyperkin, if you plan on picking one up, if it does release in 2018, and if you expect it to be delayed, what you think about Hyperkin products. Say whatever in the comments, I don't really care. And thank you for checking out this video. If you're new here, make sure you subscribe to the channel, make sure you hit that like button, make sure you share this video around with your friends, and of course, check out out all the links in the description box down below. We got a website, we got a Twitter, we got a Facebook fan page, we got a website, I already said that. We got t-shirts, we got Patreon. There's all sorts of fun stuff. Don't you want to be a part of the RGT85 cult? I think I need to make that a thing, a little cult thing. Be like the guy from Heaven's Gate. He looked really cool. I'm getting off topic. Anyways, I will catch you guys on the next video. Later.
RGT 85. RGT 85. RGT 85.